After 5 years away, that's another year on the sideline. At his age, I think he's done. If he tore his ACL, he's done. He'll never come back the same, you know? And that was the big question coming into this one. Can he pull it all together?
Money, that put it on the credit cards, that took out loans, that flew to Las Vegas and bought tickets. And for the main event to end like that was such a disappointment. It really was.
So when we were talking about the guy over here earlier asking about there being a pre-injury, just on my accounts, the face-off that day is at 80 million views, right? So if there was a pre-existing injury, somebody would have noticed it. He was limping, put his shoes on, he ran right at him. I don't think there was. Anything is possible, but he sure didn't look like it. And for 80 million just on my accounts, you know, that number's got to be massive, and nobody noticed anything. So there you go.
It wasn't a normal I can't continue reaction. It was kind of like a...
I think he was in shock. Like, oh my God,
maybe.
My fucking knee just blew out, and he didn't know what to... he didn't know what was like... It was just a genuine reaction.
If he's back there.
Yeah, I would love to believe all these conspiracy theories and these, but the fact of it is, the truth of it is, it was a freak accident. It was a fucking freak accident. He's not gonna show up just to get paid. He's not gonna show up and have a shitty fight to prove a point. Like, haha, you guys iced me. That, bro, the feelings he's dealing with right now isn't. He would rather have fucking made $0 and at least got to go out there and perform and maybe drop Max and maybe lose a decision for $0. He would take that than taking it what had happened. And way to bring it.
The highly anticipated return of Conor McGregor was supposed to be the greatest comeback in UFC history. Instead, just 1 minute into UFC 329, everything fell apart with a shocking knee injury that instantly ended the fight. But what happened next sparked an even bigger controversy. Top MMA experts began questioning whether the injury told the whole story, with some suggesting the warning signs were there long before the fight. Was this simply devastating bad luck? Or is there a side of the story fans still haven't been told? Let's break down the evidence.
Last fight, when did you realize that was over?
With Conor?
Yeah.
When he fell down the second time, I was like, oh, this is not good. The first time I thought he just slipped. It's hard to tell. It's wild. It's in the moment. I thought he slipped. And then when he got up and he threw a kick again, I'm like, oh, I don't like how his leg just gave out. That didn't seem like... I'm still hoping he's just slipping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's just freaking out because he hasn't been in the octagon in 5 years. And then he started moving around and he like grabbed his knee and buckled.
Okay.
And there was some conversation.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was some conversation going on between him and Max Holloway. And I was like, you know, Max is saying he can't fight, like something's wrong. And he's saying, fight me. He's like, get up. And so he lets him up, and then his knee buckles, and then the referee stops the fight.
Joe Rogan's reaction reveals something many fans completely missed. At first, even one of MMA's sharpest analysts believed Conor had simply lost his footing. But the second collapse changed everything. The moment Max Holloway stopped attacking and instead urged McGregor to get back up, the atmosphere inside the arena shifted instantly. It was no longer about winning or losing. It became a question of whether Conor's knee had already failed before the fight was officially over. And that's exactly where the controversy begins.
I mean, I was expecting at least a one-round war, or, you know, who knew what Conor was capable of as far as cardio or whatever else after a 5-year layoff. And, well, there you go. I mean, we're assuming blown ACL. I'm no doctor, but that's what I figured when I saw it, and doctors think the same thing too.
Before anyone even saw the medical reports, experienced voices in MMA were already predicting a serious ligament injury. The shocking part wasn't just that Conor got hurt, it was how quickly experts reached the same conclusion. But if the damage was really that severe, one question refuses to disappear. Was there already a hidden problem before the opening exchange?
Jumped in the air and threw that stupid kick that blew his knee out is because of the nerves, and also because he wants to show everyone, I've still got it, I'm still that guy. And you never know, there's a crazy world where the kick actually connects. I mean, look at Jorge Masvidal when he sprinted at Ben Askren and knocked him out. It's the quickest knockout in UFC history. I'm sure that's what he was trying to do, but it was ill-advised. He was out of range. It wasn't the most athletic kick. And of course, as we know, when he hit the canvas, he blew his goddamn knee out, right? It let the air out of the arena. It was like a wet fart. Everyone was like, oh my God, what is going on? Are you kidding me? Now, the big question is, of course, What is he going to do? Will he come back? That's what everybody wants to know. But here's what he actually said. He said, I was so sharp and so ready for this fight. I cannot believe what has happened. The talk of me being off while walking into the fight is nonsense. I was calm, ready, and confident, and I am in shock at what has taken.
Michael Bisping believes one decision may have changed everything. Instead of easing back into competition after 5 years away, Conor exploded with a risky opening attack designed to remind the world he was still the Notorious. But that gamble may have ended his comeback before it ever truly began. Even more surprising, McGregor insists he felt completely prepared and rejects every claim that something looked wrong before the fight. So who should fans believe? The experts watching the footage or Conor himself? That debate is only getting started.
What is going to happen next? Well, first of all, we know he's going to have surgery, okay? Is it a torn ACL? Is it a torn meniscus? If it's a meniscus, he might be back within 6 months. If it's an ACL, a year. It could be 18 months. You never know. Maybe that's the end of his career. But he's only got one fight left on his contract.
The injury may have ended UFC 329, but it also created an even bigger mystery. Everything now depends on what doctors discover after surgery. If the recovery is shorter, McGregor could return sooner than many expect. But if the damage is more severe, fans may have already witnessed the final fight of one of the UFC's biggest stars. Either way, the list of opponents waiting for him keeps growing.
But he's a man of honor and integrity when it comes to the confines of competition and even trying to book fights. I believe he wants to fight me. I believe he tried to fight me. I believe he wanted to fight me. I believe that's how the negotiations went. And other plans were made. But the honor and the integrity of wanting to stick to and be a man of his word since he pulled out of that fight back in 2024, International Fight Week against me, I think he wanted to actually be a man of his word and see through to putting his name on that dotted line that had my name on it. So when it comes to the confines of competition, the dude would not do just show up to take a paycheck. Does he even need the money to show up and take a paycheck? Conor, after losing his last fight to Poirier with the broken leg and all the speculation of, is this guy washed? Is he never coming back? The last thing he's going to do is show up with a compromised leg. Just like when he pulled out of the fight with me, it was a broken pinky toe.
While many fans questioned whether McGregor entered the cage already injured, Michael Chandler completely rejects that idea. According to him, Conor has too much pride to risk his legacy by showing up knowing he couldn't compete. Chandler even points to their cancelled 2024 fight, arguing McGregor walked away because of a genuine injury, not because he wanted an excuse. If that's true, then the biggest question changes completely. Was this simply the worst possible moment for bad luck to strike?
Looked like he had a hard time putting out his sneakers. Could he have been injured before the fight?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, that I don't know. I mean, the day of the press conference, he came running out of the back and ran right up to him and stopped abruptly and, squared off with him. They were pushing foreheads. And
the question of getting paid as you step in the cage was.
Well, listen. If anybody saw anything that could have possibly made him look weak or injured,
Dana White isn't buying the pre-fight injury theory, at least not yet. From everything he witnessed during fight week, Conor looked explosive, confident, and physically ready. That leaves fans caught between two completely different narratives, with no clear answer until the medical reports reveal what really happened.
We've got a bit to talk about when it comes to the fight with Himany and Gary, and I want to get to all of that. But before I do, obviously, Conor McGregor, right? UFC 329, just an absolutely devastating thing. What happened, came out there, knee went on him. Was he hurt beforehand? Was he hurt after the hand? Did he get hurt during the fight? What is your take on ultimately what happened with Conor McGregor and what happened with his knee?
To me, it's like to have a warrior like him train as hard as he did after a 5-year layoff and come back, and to have something like that happen, your heart has to go out to the guy. Look, I may not like him as a person at times, but I have to respect what a great warrior he is. And to see him go out that way is not the way I would want anyone to go out. You'd want them to go out with, doing what they came out there to do, perform. Either the other man was the better man or you were the better man, but he beat himself on that one. And that's the one that I feel for him, because that's not something that I would want for anybody, and he deserved to either become victorious or lose to Max, but that's the way it needed to go. But, you know, you got to give all the credit due to Max willing to step aside and go, look, man, the guy's injured, you know, pay attention to his injury. I don't want, you know, he could have easily capitalized on that. He didn't. So to do that, what Max did, you got to give your hats off to that guy. What a warrior he was by acknowledging that he wants a fair fight, and he knows it wasn't a fair fight. So I respected that from Max immensely also. So, you know, one guy I felt bad for because nobody deserves to go out that way, and the other guy I respect immensely because nobody deserves to take somebody out like that. So
Javier Mendez didn't focus on conspiracy theories or blame. Instead, he highlighted the heartbreaking reality behind the moment. After 5 long years away from the octagon, Conor McGregor had dedicated himself to earning one final chance to prove he still belonged among the elite. But that opportunity disappeared before the fight could truly begin. Mendez also praised Max Holloway for recognizing something was seriously wrong instead of taking advantage of the injury, calling it the mark of a true champion. Now that the emotion of fight night has settled, the biggest question remains unanswered. Was this simply cruel bad luck, or has McGregor's legendary UFC career reached its final chapter?
Main event, we know what happened. McGregor blew his knee out in the first few seconds, made an absolute shit ton, $30 million for almost no work. Didn't really take a punch. Max Holloway got paid for nothing as well. The fight didn't happen, and of course everyone's out there. They've all got opinions. Everyone's calling it a fakes and saying that he was injured beforehand and this and that, and shut the hell up, okay? Anytime Conor McGregor fights, anytime there's a big, huge fight, you get tons of casuals tuning in. They don't know what they're talking about. Conor McGregor often starts his fights with something wild, and when you've been away from the sport for 5 years and you're walking into the octagon at the T-Mobile Arena and they've got the dry ice and the crowd is going crazy for you, yeah, you got a fair bit of adrenaline running through your body, and you're asking yourself a lot of questions like, have I still got it? Can I still do this, okay? Am I still the guy? Am I as good as what I used to be? Because you never know. Maybe throughout that training camp, maybe he knew he wasn't as good as what he used to be, and that's why he looked really nervous, because he did look nervous.
The biggest controversy after UFC 329 wasn't just Conor McGregor's devastating injury. It was the flood of conspiracy theories that followed. As social media exploded, some fans claimed the fight had been staged, or that McGregor entered the cage already compromised. Michael Bisping strongly dismisses those accusations, arguing that what people witnessed was far more believable. The overwhelming pressure of returning after 5 years away from the octagon. But Bisping also raises a fascinating possibility. Beneath all the confidence and hype, was McGregor privately wondering whether he could still perform at the highest level? If so, that mental battle may reveal more about UFC 329 than any theory ever could.
It's tough. It's tough. I really wanted him to come back and have a good performance. I thought Holloway was going to win by TKO, so I guess I'm correct. But I didn't want to be correct like that. I wanted to at least see a performance where I knew. Has McGregor still got it a bit? Is McGregor still in the mix? Can he not beat Holloway, but he could beat so-and-so? You know? I was thinking, okay, even if Holloway finishes McGregor in round 4 and McGregor looks good early, does he still beat Dan Hooker if he comes back and fights Dan Hooker? You know? It was just a few of those things where I was just hoping I'd get some answers for what level McGregor's at after these 5 years off. To be honest, he did look a little slow, but it was at welterweight, so that's hard to tell, because I'm used to seeing him at featherweight and in his prime at lightweight, but it sucks, man. I don't know what they're going to do.
For many analysts, the biggest disappointment wasn't that McGregor lost. It was that fans never got the answers they'd waited 5 years to discover. Could he still compete with the UFC's elite? Was he still dangerous enough to beat top contenders? UFC 329 was supposed to answer those questions, but instead, it left everyone with even more uncertainty. Now the debate isn't about who would have won. It's whether McGregor will ever get another chance to prove himself.
Do we, the fans, have to once and for all say it's over? Conor McGregor is going to retire. His career is going to be over.
As the dust settled, an uncomfortable question began spreading throughout the MMA world. Have fans already seen Conor McGregor's final UFC fight? It's a question nobody wanted to ask, but after UFC 329, it's one that's becoming impossible to ignore.
Do you think Conor McGregor fights again? I do. Yeah, I do think Conor fights again. He still, has that fire and he still wants to compete. So, he has his last fight on his UFC contract. So I'm sure he wants to fulfill that and then, see what the future holds for himself. But, Conor, he needs fighting. He really does, to keep structure in his life, to keep everything sane in his mind. So, fighting's good for Conor's.
Not everyone believes UFC 329 was McGregor's final chapter. Some fighters still see the same competitive fire that made him one of the biggest stars in combat sports. They argue that with one fight remaining on his UFC contract, Conor has every reason to return and finish what he started. But that's where opinions begin to split. Is determination enough to overcome another devastating knee injury after such a long layoff? Or has the body finally reached a point where the desire to fight is no longer enough? The answer could decide how McGregor's legacy is remembered.
I don't think there's going to be another comeback for him, right? Especially if it's a torn ACL, it's going to be another year off. I just don't think he's going to have the crowd behind him like he did for this one. He can maybe talk his way into it, but like I said, he's really not even that good of a talker anymore. Maybe you give him a Chandler fight, but Chandler, you're going to wait another year, then probably another year of him training to come back. I just think he made a lot of money this fight.
Others aren't nearly as optimistic. They believe an ACL injury would force McGregor into yet another year away from competition, time he simply can't afford. By the time he returns, the UFC landscape could look completely different. And while Conor has always relied on his ability to sell fights, some experts wonder whether even his superstar status can generate the same excitement after another lengthy absence.
Look, I think Kenny, I only heard the last minute, but I think he's dead on. I think he tried to conjure up all the things from the past that it just doesn't work like that. Look, we said it, 5 years being away and doing the right thing is hard. Even Dominic Cruz alluded to that. That guy was doing everything right. He wasn't partying, and it was 3 years, I think he said. 5 years, steroids and fucking cocaine. I don't even know. I'm not saying it allegedly, whatever the hell it is. It's a lot, man. It's a lot on your body. Your body, there's things, I'm sure, Kenny, you think your brain says you could do, and you can't do it, right? You know what I mean? The brain is a really weird thing. It's going to make you believe certain things that just aren't true, and I think that's what we saw. Just he looked old when he got in there. He did. He looked very old to me.
Yep.
And this is not an old man's game at that weight class for sure. Yeah. And, the inactivity, I just think everything we said was kind of nothing. I don't think he was hurt before. He was throwing those kicks in the dressing room, but why he would even want to lead with a technique like that at this age. The older you get, Kenny, that's what you want to be, jumping in the air. Takes a lot of cardio to jump in the air too.
For many analysts, the injury wasn't the only concern. They believe UFC 329 exposed the brutal reality of what 5 years away from elite competition can do to even the greatest fighters. Timing, explosiveness, balance, and reaction speed are impossible to recreate without real fights, regardless of how intense training camp may be. Some even argue McGregor looked like a different athlete the moment he entered the cage. Still, they reject the idea that he arrived already injured. Instead, they believe the comeback itself may have been the biggest challenge. And if that's true, the injury may have only accelerated what was already becoming an uphill battle.
I watched him doing media in New York. I then, the following week, watched him doing media in Los Angeles. But I'm being told he's in the gym training in Ireland. I just brought that to your attention. So I even reached out to his team. I said, hey, where's he training at? They said, no, he's all set up. He's at a gym in California. So that's great. I got a camera crew and I got a team out there in Dana Point. I'll get him over to the gym. I know every gym in California. Where's he at? Well, it's the gym doesn't have a name. Gym doesn't have a name. Okay. Who's he training with? I didn't ask this question, but I'm just saying to you guys, who's he training with? Because it comes back to Telephone, Telegraph, or Telefighter. Those training partners, above the workouts, above the dollars they're going to get for rounds and time, they would like some exposure. They would love a picture with Conor McGregor, blow that up on their social media. They would love that. No one posted anything. So then you have the coaches. Now, I know that Conor keeps that staff tight. I have no doubt. The Coach Roddy, the Coach Kevin, I have no doubt that the team was there, but working out.
Chael Sonnen raises a completely different question, one that has nothing to do with the injury itself. According to him, the mystery started long before fight night. Despite weeks of media appearances, almost nobody could confirm where McGregor was actually training or who his regular sparring partners were. In an era where training footage spreads across social media within minutes, that silence stood out. Chael isn't claiming anything was fake, but he believes the lack of evidence naturally fueled speculation. If McGregor truly had a full training camp, why did so few people see it? It's another unanswered question that continues to keep the conspiracy theories alive.
And it's a very meaningful question because there were some moments in that fight. Okay, there was one very specifically. Everything that I have heard so far is talking about the jumping kick or the kicks by Conor and the leg going out. I didn't see what Joe Rogan saw. Joe Rogan was confident in telling the broadcast world that he blew out his knee. That may be accurate information. I'm just sharing for you. I didn't see that. Now, the moment, if you go back and rewatch this fight, the moment where you question and go, oh no, oh no, this human, this young man, Conor, isn't ready. He didn't prepare right. He throws a punch, right? We're all thinking of the kicks, but if you rewatch it, he threw a punch and he went down. He lost his balance. He lost his balance.
While most fans focused on the kick that appeared to destroy McGregor's knee, Chael Sonnen believes another moment deserves far more attention. He says the real warning sign came seconds earlier, when Conor threw a simple punch and unexpectedly lost his balance. To Chael, that moment suggested something wasn't quite right even before the injury became obvious. It doesn't prove the fight was fixed or that McGregor entered injured, but it does raise difficult questions about his preparation and physical condition. If balance was already becoming an issue, was the knee injury the cause of the collapse, or simply the final consequence?
It was around the Cali streets. Da-da-da-da-da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.
Just hours after the fight, images of McGregor in a wheelchair spread across social media, turning concern into shock. For many fans, that single moment made the injury feel far more serious than anyone had first imagined.
It's tough. Of course, the world would watch him fight Diaz for the trilogy. The world would watch anything he does, especially in combat sports. So a boxing match, it's going to be tough. The thing is, if he did, I'm not sure the extent of his injuries. If it's a torn ACL after 5 years away, that's another year on the sideline. At his age, I think he's done. If he tore his ACL, he's done. He'll never come back the same, And that was the big question coming into this one. Can he pull it all together after this horrific injury and come back? But how many times can you cry wolf before the fans are like, we're not breaking ticket gate records anymore. We're not flying across the world to watch you fight. We know what we get with you. A flash in the pan. How many times can you do this before people start moving on?
Dustin Poirier believes the biggest concern isn't just the injury itself. It's the time McGregor stands to lose. After already spending 5 years away from the octagon, another lengthy recovery could make returning to elite competition even more difficult. Poirier argues that if the diagnosis confirms a torn ACL, the odds of McGregor reclaiming championship form become significantly smaller. That could force a major decision about his future. Does he continue chasing another UFC title, or shift his focus toward high-profile super fights that still attract massive audiences? Either path would guarantee global attention, but only one offers a realistic chance to prove he can still compete with the very best.
Did we ever think that McGregor was coming back? He always threatened coming back, didn't he? But I think that there's been so many stop-starts with McGregor that 6 years. Yeah, no one knows where we're up to. But you know what? I watched a couple of his interviews recently. He seems in a really good place. I know it's only an interview, but he does seem in a good place. When McGregor's on form, he's absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. He's beat Max Holloway before. Max Holloway, in my opinion, really, really good fighter. One of the best ever. Didn't look great in his last fight. Did not look great against Charles Oliveira at all. He looked like he kind of was questioning whether he wanted to be there or not at points. But he was fighting a grappler, so when it's all striking, which it probably will be, sometimes when you're fighting regular, that helps as well. Sometimes it works the other way. It just depends where they're at. But like I say, I heard a couple of McGregor interviews. I was very impressed with what he was talking about and how calm he seemed and how focused he seemed. I know it's just an interview, it doesn't really mean anything, but he's up against an active guy like Max Holloway. But I think the thing is that power doesn't leave. Like, he needs one shot and it can be over. So I'm more favouring towards a McGregor win, to be honest.
I can tell, but how does Holloway win this fight?
Holloway wins by just out-voluming him, being at the right spots at the right time. Very tall, lanky guy, using good footwork, using good timing. His timing is definitely going to be better because he's been fighting way more regular than McGregor. I think that there's definitely a possibility of Max Holloway picking him off and moving, but I would favour.
Despite all the setbacks, Tom Aspinall still believes McGregor shouldn't be counted out. He points to Conor's mindset and past achievements as reasons to keep believing. But after another crushing injury, the biggest question is no longer whether he can return. It's whether he can return as the same fighter. So where does the truth really lie? Was UFC 329 nothing more than a heartbreaking accident, or were the warning signs visible long before Conor McGregor stepped into the octagon? Throughout this video, we've heard opinions from Joe Rogan, Michael Bisping, Chael Sonnen, Dustin Poirier, Javier Mendez, Michael Chandler, Dana White, and several other MMA voices. Yet despite all those perspectives, one thing remains certain. No one has been able to fully explain what really happened that night. What was supposed to be one of the greatest comebacks in UFC history ended before fans even had a chance to see whether McGregor could still compete with the world's best. Instead of getting answers, the MMA world was left with even more questions. Can Conor recover from another devastating injury? Will he ever fight again? And if he does, will we see the legendary Mystic Mac one last time? Or has the sport already witnessed the final chapter of his remarkable career? Only time, the medical reports, and McGregor himself can answer those questions. Until then, the debate will continue, and every new update will be watched by millions around the world. What do you think? Was this simply cruel bad luck? Or do you believe there's more to the story than we've been told? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MMA news and analysis.